All right, so when you're building a 48-volt inverter system, most of us, we're really just focused on one thing, right? Getting it to work. You connect the wires, you flip the switch, and hey, if the lights come on, it's a success. But that's missing the most critical piece of the puzzle. Because with these high-power systems, safety isn't just some optional feature. It is literally everything. And this quote, man, it just hits the nail on the head. We're talking about high current DC power here. This isn't a system that just kind of fizzles out if something goes wrong. No, a mistake here can mean melted cables, scary arc flashes, and yeah, even fire. So we've got to approach this with a totally different mindset. You know, you've probably seen a ton of tutorials out there. They show you the basics. Connect this wire to that terminal, use thick wires. But they almost always skip the most important part, the why. Well, this explainer, we're doing things differently. We're taking an engineering-first approach. We're going to really dig into the actual current flow and build our system knowing exactly how it could fail so we can design it not to. Okay, so what is it about a 48-volt system that demands so much respect? I mean, why are we being so careful? It all boils down to a really basic relationship, the one between power, voltage, and what I like to call the hidden danger, the current. And here's the key formula that explains it all. Don't worry, it's pretty simple. The current, that's the I, that your battery has to crank out is just the power your inverter's using divided by the voltage times the inverter's efficiency. And believe me, this simple little division has massive implications for the amount of juice your system has to handle. Okay, let's make that math real because the numbers are pretty staggering. Let's say you have a common 5,000-watt inverter. It's running at, say, 90% efficiency on a 48-volt battery. Well, it's pulling a continuous 116 amps. 116. That is a ton of electrical energy, and it's just constantly flowing through your wires and all your connections. So all that massive current, it creates risks, and here they are. Think of these as the 7 deadly sins of inverter wiring. You've got everything from a catastrophic battery short circuit all the way down to a slow-burning fire from a single loose connection. Every single thing we're about to do is designed specifically to defeat these 7 failure points. So, the big question is, how do we beat those risks? We're going to build this system using a method that's more like a safety protocol than just a set of instructions. Every single step is a direct countermeasure to the dangers we just talked about. Okay, first up, you want to position all your main components. We're talking batteries, fuse, switch, inverter, as close together as you possibly can. Why? Because shorter cables mean less resistance, and less resistance means less voltage drop and, crucially, less dangerous heat. Then we start adding our layers of protection. We put in a main fuse, a disconnect switch, and of course we select the right cables. And those cables have to be sized to handle not just the normal load, but also the big surge current the inverter can pull. All right, now listen up because this is probably the most critical point of the entire process. Your main fuse must, and I mean must, be as close to the battery's positive terminal as you can possibly get it. Its job isn't to protect the inverter, its job is to protect the cable. Think about it. If the fuse is way over by the inverter and a short happens near the battery, that whole wire just turns into a glowing red heating element before the fuse even knows what's happening. This is, without a doubt, the single most important safety step you will take. And this says it all, doesn't it? Loose terminals equal heat, and heat equals fire. It's that simple. Every single connection point, especially on those big DC cables, has to be tightened to the exact spec from the manufacturer. See, a loose terminal creates resistance. Resistance creates a ton of heat. And that heat is how electrical fires start. Don't guess. Don't just do good and tight. Use a torque wrench. Okay, time to connect everything up. And here's a little pro tip for you. Always connect the negative cable first, then the positive. This little trick seriously reduces the chance of you accidentally touching your wrench from the positive terminal to the metal case and creating a big, scary spark. After that, we ground the inverter's chassis, that's for shock protection. Then we pre-charge the inverter's capacitors to avoid that damaging pop from the inrush current. And then we stop. We pause for our final checks. So you've built it all correctly, you followed the steps, but now you have to verify it. Seriously, do not rush this part. The few minutes you spend right now are your absolute last chance to catch a mistake before you unleash over 100 amps into this thing. So go grab that torque wrench and check every single lug one last time. Double check your polarity. Red to red, black to black. It sounds basic, but mistakes happen. Confirm your fuse is the right rating for your wire size. Look for any exposed copper, and make sure your heavy cables are properly secured and not just hanging there under their own weight. All right, when you finally throw that switch, your job still isn't over. Turn the system on with no load at first. Just let it power up. Then start applying a load and pay close attention. Are your cables getting even a little warm to the touch? Is your voltage dropping more than you'd expect? Are you hearing any weird humming or buzzing from the inverter? These are all the early warning signs telling you something might be wrong. So, after all this, what's the big takeaway? Look, a properly built 48-volt system is an amazing thing. It's powerful, it's efficient, but it has absolutely zero tolerance for mistakes. It is not a forgiving environment at all. All it takes is just one loose connection. Maybe it vibrates a little over time, builds up that resistance, that heat, until, poof, the insulation fails. All it takes is one wrong fuse, one that's rated too high to actually protect the wire, turning a simple little problem into a full-blown catastrophe. And all it takes is one undersized cable, just slowly cooking away under a normal load, waiting for that one surge to push it right past its breaking point. So this is the mindset you absolutely have to adopt. You've got to respect the incredible power of the current you're dealing with, and you have to design every single piece of your system not just to work, but to fail safely. That's the real difference between just another DIY project and a truly professional, safe installation. And that leaves us with one final, really important question to ask yourself. Take a hard look at your plans, or maybe at the system you've already built. Did you build it just to work, or did you build it to fail safely, to withstand the inevitable hiccup and protect itself, your gear, and your home when something eventually does go wrong? Honestly, the answer to that question makes all the difference in the world.